Welcome back, everybody. We have a returning guest on the show. Dr. Erika Smith is here with us again. Erika was with us, man, it's had to be almost 200 episodes ago, two years ago.
2 years.
In quite a different place. Erika is now running for Ward 2 of a city council. City official? City council.
Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas, in the Summerlin area. Last year, she was in District 41 of the State Assembly. She was the first black woman to run for that district.
Yes.
Unfortunately, didn't win, but now has made a complete change. She was a part of the Republican Party last time around, and now she is part of the Democrats, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But more than excited to see your growth and transition over the last 2 years.
Yes, it's been quite the journey. You know, 2020, we were dealing with COVID, like we were all shut down and in our homes. Now, you know, we're trying to get out of that, and I think we're doing pretty good. We're coming out. But yeah, definitely a big transition for me. I ran for state assembly last time, and I did make history for sure. You know, my numbers were excellent. I only lost by 2,000 votes.
I remember texting you the day of the election, and it was very narrow up until like I think the very end. There was like that small gap that pulled away.
Absolutely.
But we were there.
And so I'm just excited, you know, as a first time, when I was running for the first time and being able to put up the type of numbers that I put up. Look, I have to pat myself on the back because I put in a lot of work. And I'm putting in a lot of work now on a different side of town, getting to know a different set of constituents. It's always fun to meet people. Everyone knows I'm super approachable. I just love talking to people, seeing what their problems are. You know, let's get a solution. And so, yeah, we're on a different journey, but the fabulous Summerlin area. That's what I like to call it. Who needs some fabulous leadership?
Yeah, and I love Erika. I have a lot of admiration for her. She's she was previously an entrepreneur who's decided to step into politics. And we've discussed this many times off camera about how we believe this is kind of where the future of politics are going. The career politicians are dying. We need the people in office who know how to optimize yield, optimize efficiency, and just have a larger command of everything that's existing in the city without, you know, being in the political space for 20, 30 years, where a lot of those career politicians tend to lose touch with their constituents because they've been in there for so long. Absolutely.
And, you know, last time you said we were chasing history, but I want to put it out there again. I don't know how this happens every time I'm running, that there's some history being made, but absolutely there's history being made this time. There was a black female Republican that was in. She won in a special election and served Ward 2. This is the first time that you know, this is a black woman running in a regular election season, and I will be the first black Democratic woman to sit in Ward 2. So I don't know how this happens, but look, this is where we are. This is what it is. And I'm here for it. I'm here to serve. And I'm super excited.
A woman of ambition. So there's a few directions we could go, but to start off, just tell us a little bit about you. I know we talked about this for length at the last conversation, but just give everyone just a brief synopsis of who Dr. Erika Smith is.
Well, yeah, it's been a couple years since I've been on, so definitely we can recap. I am Dr. Erika Smith. I'm from a town called St. Mary's, Georgia, so I am a Southern girl all the way with Southern charm and Southern manners, which I believe will serve me well working with the community and working with the city, that I do have some manners. We'll have to talk about that too, why I stress about the manners. But yeah, we're going to have to get off into that a little bit today too. But yeah, I'm from St. Mary's, Georgia. I went to school at Holy Rosary Catholic School. Yeah, I went to Catholic school. And then I was the valedictorian of my class for 8th grade class. And then I went on to Bishop Kenny High School, that's also in Jacksonville, Florida. And then I went off to college at University of Georgia, got my BS in biology. Then went off to Meharry Medical College, which is a historically black college and university in Nashville, Tennessee. And so it just kind of goes over. And then I did a residency in at University of New Mexico. I was in their first class of residents for advanced education general dentistry. And then I practiced a little bit in Texas and Nevada and where else? Oh, New Mexico.
Yeah. And,
so, yeah.
And last time we talked, weren't you, your originally set up office, it's somewhere in like the Prump area. Was that correct?
Yes, I had an office here too, but I also ended up rolling out to Pahrump. You know, that's really the wild, wild west, right? So I ended up going out there, setting up. I was told it was a good idea, but I was out there for a few years. So I think it was a good idea. It definitely took an office from nothing, literally started from scratch and took it up to having a lot of patients. So definitely, I know how to start a business from nothing to something.
Yeah, when we first had met, and I believe this is on your actual website now, there's the interview from when you're out in Pahrump talking about you moving into politics and
no, actually you're talking about on my website now.
Yeah.
On my website now, it is an interview I did here in Las Vegas during 2020. And I was working with the practice because I also have D2D Health Management, which works with existing dental and medical practice and startups as well. You can hire me to come in and do consulting for your practice because I think I know a little something.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So I literally was hired to come into a medical practice because they were having some problems. And so basically to put them with different vendors and to see what was going on wrong with the practice. But what we also did that year is we donated PPE to the St. Rose Hospital. It was an anonymous donation. They wouldn't let me do my thing. You know, I'm running for office. Of course, I want to have like some news media and all that stuff and really like make it big, big, big. But they wouldn't let us do it. But we were able to do an anonymous donation. If you can remember back, if you can like go all the way back to 2020, you had nurses and medical staff saying, and doctors saying, we don't have PPE. It was a real situation that was happening. So that was, I was being interviewed, I believe it was Channel 8. They interviewed me. They came out. We actually had like a little forum. We spoke, and they also interviewed me about the donation and about the campaign. So it was a good look. And so, yeah, I decided to make sure we kind of transported that into 2022 just so people know they can really get a feel of the type of person that I am. They can get a feel for, oh my gosh, like she really is a real doctor. She's doing real things that really benefit our community. And so it's important to tie that in, even though at the time I was running for a different position, I'm still the same person.
Yeah, I think this speaks to your confidence in the ability to transition to whatever you feel is next and not being pigeonholed or boxed into whatever you're doing at the time.
No, people wanted me. I was asked to run again for AD 41, but you know, I felt like local government needed me. I felt like I could make the most impact there. And so for me, transitioning to running for a state seat versus running for a local seat was just natural. And I'm like, I don't know why I didn't think about this before. But, you know, someone asked me to run for that seat when I ran. And so this time I decided that this is really what I want to do now that I've gotten my feet kind of wet. I've done it before. I felt like I could now make the decision that was best suited for me. And like I said, it makes the most impact to our community. A lot of people don't think about local politics. They overlook it. That's why we get clowns in these offices. Or, I mean, I don't know what the female word is for clown. I mean, it may just be a neutral word. But we get these people that are not really for the people. We get people in that are not really doing the things that we thought they were going to do. They said they were going to do this. They make all these false promises, empty promises. You know, I'm running against the queen of that. So I just think that now people are saying we are ready for the change. We're ready for you. And they realize that I'm the change that they've been looking for. I literally have coined myself the change champion. So people understand that now you have someone that's really going to listen to you as your elected ambassador, because really that's what I am. I would be an ambassador for Ward 2 and for really the entire city of Las Vegas. And to me, that's super important that my constituents can come. I'm interacting. I'm out where they can say, okay, she's really out here in the community. She cares. Because people want to know if you care.
Yep.
At the end of the day, they don't care about hope, but did you care? Did you try to do the things that were necessary that we need done to move our city forward? And I think that's what people are really looking for. They're really saying it's time for a change of guard. We've had this person where that didn't work out. And I think you're going to see a lot of that happening as these elections come up. 2024 is Las Vegas mayor race. So I think you're going to see a lot of changing of the guard, because that's what we need to move the city really into a new realm, what the city's been really waiting for, but can't happen with the old guard.
Yeah. And sticking on the theme of embracing change, you don't see this happen often in politics on any level between federal, state, or local. You transition from Republicans to Democrats. Mm-hmm. This happens very rarely. Just tell us a little bit of the reasoning behind it and how that transition was over the last 2 years.
This is the first time I've been really able to really speak about what happened. Why did I make that transition? Because I think people need to know. If it's on your mind, let's talk about it. So for me, I was a Republican nominee in 2020. I did a good job for them. A lot of them were asking me to run for something else. That was definitely because they liked the numbers that I was able to put up. They know I'm a viable candidate. So it's not those people. And it's not even Republicans or conservatives, because, I rock with everybody. I'm pretty cool. But where that decision was made for me to transition from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party was really the leadership. The Nevada GOP, Michael J McDonald, other people that were in his office. I called and had a question about something, and I was really trying to set up a meeting with Michael McDonald. And one of the staff, who I think is now the executive director, as you might know, I don't know, maybe you don't know, there's a couple different factions that is happening right now within the Republican Party in Nevada. They have the group with the Proud Boys, and then they have the group with the saner people, the more moderate Republicans, I'll say. And so what happened is the more far-right faction really took over. And, there was a lot of drama. I'm sure it was in the paper and on the news and how all this stuff went down last July at the school. So now they have to have all this security at school because of what happened. It was a mess. I was there. It went down really bad. They were literally talking about let us in. It was just, in fact, it was embarrassing. I'm going to just be honest. It was embarrassing because this is not what you expected from the Republican Party. They talk about everybody else, but then here we're looking like all this drama. They were taking the other group to court. I think they may still be in court. I mean, it's just a mess. And so the problem is, if you weren't rocking with the Michael J McDonald faction, then they kind of threw you to win. Even if you were a Republican, it didn't matter. You think it would matter, right? Like, we're all on the same team, right? We're all looking for this. We're all expecting the same outcome, the same goals. And so when I called, I said, yes, I'd like to set up a meeting with Michael McDonald. And really was to discuss my plans to run for Las Vegas City Council. But I never got that far in the conversation. I'm going to just put it there. So they didn't know I was running, which might have worked out to my benefit, that they had no idea what I was doing. And she says to me, well, we've spotted you at this, at the other meeting. I said, what other meeting? Oh, with the other Republican Party, the other faction. Oh, okay. And? Well, Michael J McDonald will not meet with you. I said, oh, really? Well, yes, because you've been something about some criminals. I said, no, that's when I had to push back, because I'm trying to figure who are the criminals. I didn't know she was talking about the other Republicans. So I was really confused. I'm trying to, okay, well, who are the criminals? I know I'm not a criminal, so I'm trying to figure out where is this conversation going.
Yeah, that's a complete red line between in the party.
And I'm trying to figure out, well, I know I'm not a criminal. I know I'm not hanging with no criminals. So who are the criminals? So she proceeded to tell me that the criminals were the other Republicans. I said, well, hold on. You know me. I said, well, hold on. Wait a minute. Because I'm not a criminal. And neither do I hang out with criminals. So what you're saying is very dangerous. You're really, saying some very dangerous things. You got some dangerous rhetoric going on here. And it just wasn't a really good conversation. And finally, she said he would not meet with me. I told her to have a good day. I made some phone calls after that to discuss what had transpired. I tried to get her to put it in writing. You know, that cowards don't put, she didn't put it in writing. I was trying to get an email because I was literally, the conversation already happened, was already running to the top of the Republican Party. See, people don't know who you know. And so one of my friends who's very well connected, she says, see if you can get her to put it in writing, and then I'm gonna run it to the top. Because I felt like, you know, so yeah, that's really what happened at that point. Days later, I pondered, and to me, I just went ahead and decided that I could not rock with this anymore. And literally I went on the internet, went on Clark County Election Department, changed my party affiliation, and I must say,
was the Democratic Party open to you making the transition?
Oh, absolutely. I ended up reaching out to Judith Whitmer of the Nevada Dems, the party chairwoman, and we talked probably later that week on Zoom. Conversation went well. I told her what I was running for. They didn't know about any other Democrats running. I started like calling all of the Democratic clubs, introducing myself, and just really getting on that road. So yeah, I knew since last year that I was running for this seat. So a lot of people thought it was just like, oh, you just all of a sudden, no, I never do nothing all of a sudden. It's always if I'm doing it, that means it was well thought out and planned. Just because you didn't know about it doesn't mean that I wasn't thinking about it. And so, yeah, they opened arms, and really, I was just at the Nevada Dems office this morning. So they have opened their arms to me. It's just been really a good experience for the most part, that they've embraced me. I know that every time I realize that I made the right decision.
Yeah, it does take some courage to make that jump.
Yeah.
We know, and we've seen a ton of politicians stay within a party and end up losing every time because they have not built those connections. I think also your B2B skills from your entrepreneurial world and talking with insurance companies and very hardline type people helped you understand that distinction. But here I pulled up your website and talking about your platform. There's a handful of things about distinguished educated seriousness.
Yes.
Talk about Summerlin 2.0 experience, no time for crime, education matters, and green, which is giving responsible economic empowerment now. And you've been coming to a lot of like the blockchain meetups, trying to learn more about that. But before we go into the specifics of it, as you made that transition, did any of the vision for your platform, was it forced to change because of switching parties, or did the Dems give you pretty much an open platform to pursue?
They let me do what I want to do. I think that that's always the best, is to let me kind of form what I want to form. The vision is a little different because the seat is different. You know, when you're running for a statewide seat, that looks a lot different than running for a local seat. So of course, all of those platforms, you named some of them, a few of them right now, were platforms that I came up with. A lot of thought goes into what I came up with. There were weeks and weeks and weeks of thoughts and it was evolving and evolving and evolving. So by the time it hit paper, I had probably changed it and tweaked it multiple times. So a lot of people don't know that I write all of my own platforms. I write my own speeches. I'm a writer as well. So it just comes naturally to me to write. So when you hear me speaking in front of people, just know that either that came from just the top of my head, because sometimes I don't write a speech out. Like I just literally get up on the stage and start speaking. But sometimes I do put like some points together, and I make sure I go over and hit those points from what I want, you know, the message I want to send across to everyone. So it just really depends. But I do write all of my own stuff. I have done multiple speaking engagements as I did in 2020. I have some upcoming. Like I know I have one next week at Nevada Partners on Monday, June 6th. I'll be at Nevada Partners at 5:30 p.m. to 7. I'm on the flyer to speak for National Action Network. So I'm getting asked a lot to do a lot of things. I'm being pulled in a lot of directions, but I love all of it.
As a podcast host, we like to call you the perfect guest. I just get to throw you a layup and you can run with it. We don't have to fish for the information. Because
absolutely.
You know how to speak your mind.
Being here.
Yeah.
I love being here. And, I missed our interactions because we haven't had this for a couple years now.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
Yeah. And we got to meet up and talk. Tell us a little bit about you and the experience of hanging out with Andrew Yang.
Ooh, I was hoping we were going to talk about that.
I held that event. I just had Randall on. We talked about it a little bit. You were there, and obviously Andrew's was a Dem, left the Dems. So very similar experience, just transitioning and following what your true beliefs are. Tell us that experience, because I know you hung out with him pretty much the entire day.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay. So I was trying not to fan out. Let me just put that out. Because he's like super cool. You're hanging out with his former presidential candidate, and he also ran for mayor of New York. So he's just amazing. He had some events that Friday. So he was here May 20th. He had some early events. He was on, I think he was on a podcast that morning. He did some private events earlier that day that I did not attend because I was just kind of waiting for him to come over to the Summerlin event. Come over and I want to show you fabulous Summerlin, right? So we had the event there. I helped to set that up for him. Kona Grill was gracious enough to give us that upstairs for free, which is literally unheard of. They did not charge a dime. When I went to the general manager and spoke to her, told her what was going on, he was coming out. We wanted to host an event for him. They did it for free. They didn't even ask a minimum. So shout out to Kona Grill at Boca Park.
Great sushi.
Yes, we love you, Kona Grill. Shout out to everyone that made that happen. The general manager, we love you so much. So he came, and it was just really kind of a more intimate, at the Summerlin event, it was more intimate. We really got to talk to him one-on-one, take some great photos, which I posted on my Facebook. So if you go to Erika J Smith, you will see pictures of me with Andrew. And so it was just great. We got to really know each other. And then we came to your event, which was amazing in the Arts District. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was very well attended. It was a whole different vibe, though, than what we had going over there, because you had him in like a podcast setting. And so
answering Q&A.
Exactly. And so I think everyone loved it. They loved what he was talking about. Shout out that Andrew Yang knows me by first name. I just want to put that out there.
The homie.
He's the homie.
I woke up, he started following me on Twitter. I was like, yes, the homie.
Yeah, you felt like you had a ride, right? Right. It's like when he kept calling me by first name. Mm-hmm. So yeah, absolutely. We have bonded. I just love me some Andrew Yang. Mm-hmm. And then we went to another event after yours at the MV Dems office for another candidate. So definitely hanging out with him was super amazing. He has some great ideas that he's trying to bring. As you know, he's trying to create his own party, which is called the Forward Party. And so people can go and look up more about that at forwardparty.org.
What would you say was your biggest takeaway from hanging out with him over the past day in terms of maybe his philosophies or ideology that he's trying to enact within the Forward Party and things that he's trying to change within not just politics, but within America?
I mean, I like him because he's a disruptor, and it takes a lot of courage to do what he's doing, like to leave the Democratic Party, which he's probably known the whole time, and to really start a whole new party that, third parties are known not to do that well. Mm-hmm. So we know but I think that because he has a unique approach, I'm thinking it's going to work. They're big on universal basic income. It's big. We know the NFT cryptocurrency is big, big, big. So there's a lot of things. Open primaries and ranked choice voting is another thing that's really big that they are in support of. And so definitely, they're not an official party yet. They're definitely working. I think they're well on their way. So they can only endorse those congressional candidates that they endorse. But definitely I have the support of Andrew Yang and the Forward Party.
It's amazing.
So that's pretty amazing. And I have the support of the Dems. And I have the support of many moderate Republicans. So, You know, I feel like, and even I feel like I'll have the support of nonpartisan people that are registered nonpartisan, independent, all of those factions. So I think that because what they see is that what they get from me is they realize that, okay, she understands it from all sides. I'm the only candidate in my race that can say they left one party, went to another party, still can talk to the other party. I can still go to a Republican event to this day and know everyone in the room and be friendly and everybody's talking to me. Like that still happens. And so I think when you find a person that can unite people, that I'm your candidate. I'm the candidate that can say, okay, it doesn't matter if you're on the left or right, sideways, up and down. It doesn't matter because I'm able to deal with you and I'm able to see where you're coming from. I'm understanding your point of view and it doesn't matter. I'm unique because not everybody can do that. Not everybody can say that they understand really where you're coming from. I mean, yeah, it's a big deal.
Americans are really craving to get back to this like great moderation, getting back to the middle. We've been so polarized over the last, I don't know, two decades or so. And now it seems that most Americans, most people in crypto, most people in the tech space are trying to get away from the hyper partisanship and just get back to having normal conversations like this, even cross party lines. No one really cares. We don't want those barriers up anymore.
Absolutely. And I think when you find a unique candidate like me, you have to embrace that candidate and say, wait a minute, she's like a breath of fresh air. Hold on. She's not too far right. She's not too far left, but she knows how to really bring it together and make it make all sense. Because I think at the end of the day, people are looking for common sense candidates. They can say, okay, they're not cray-cray. You know, yeah, we don't want any cray-cray. Like leave your cray-cray at home. Yeah. So that's how I feel. But so I think that is what is attractive to a lot of people, and that we have to be that type of person when they say, well, she makes a lot of sense when she speaks and she's got some good ideas. And so I think they can see that there's a total package. You don't always get that. Sometimes, you know, we have to vote for the lesser of two evils. A lot of times, you know, that's what happens. And so with me, it's not the lesser of two evils. It's the best candidate has come forth to represent the people. I say that my campaign is a people-powered campaign, which makes it very unique.
Yes, moving away from the lesser two evils is what we all want. Yes. And Andrew mentioned that he's pretty confident it's going to end up being Trump and Biden again, and we're going to be back in the situation of what are the lesser of two evils, and we'd rather have something completely
completely different. And I know in 2024, it's going to be game on. I do know that the Ford Party is looking to be in the mix and in play for everything that's happening 2024 up and down the ballot. And so it's pretty exciting to see how it's all going to unfold, because I think that, like I said, it's going to be a disruption.
Let's hope so. Speaking of disruptions, when I was looking through your website and some of the different things on your platform, Summerlin 2.0, something that stands out. Summerlin's already kind of it's the nicer area of Las Vegas. Absolutely. It was the first, I guess, like big construction outside of Henderson that ended up being built over the last decade. This is where a lot of the very successful people in the city tend to go reside in. How do we make it better? How do we make it 2.0? Is 2.0 necessary? And what's the issue with Summerlin that needs to be fixed?
Summerlin is very fabulous, but even when you're fabulous, you can even be more fabulous. And so that's what 2.0 is about. It's about really addressing, okay, we're fabulous, but what can we do to take Summerlin to the next level? My vision for Summerlin is that it's just a place like, people go to the Strip, but that's the tourists. We want people to come and enjoy Summerlin as the Strip for the locals, the Strip experience for the locals. We want to have Wi-Fi in our parks. That's how we take things to the next levels. We look at, okay, we're great now, but can we do even better? And absolutely, we always can. So that, Summerlin is that place where, like you said, people come for luxury. People come, when you live in Summerlin, it's like, oh, I have arrived. Mm-hmm. It's like the Beverly Hills or the Calabasas of Nevada, of Las Vegas. So that's how I view Summerlin, is we can always take it to the next level.
Summerlin's it's multiple communities within one area because they're all gated communities,
Yes.
multi-million-dollar houses. You have all the raiders that are living out there, all of the entrepreneurs. It's all, the whole entire area has been built within the last, you could say about 20 years or so, but it's really taken hold over, we'll say maybe the last 5 or 6 of really blowing up to be like the staple. You have Bishop Gorman out there.
Yes.
That's like one of the top high schools in the entire country. As somebody who would then be a city official, what type of powers do you have that can assist with growing Summerlin to be the next version of it?
Well, of course, City Council handles zoning. So if someone looks to put a new business in within the city limits of Ward 2, they have to come before the City Council. And then I'll be the one that puts that stamp of approval on that. So it's really important as people are doing more development, and I'm expecting a whole lot more development in the area. There's room for that. And so you're talking about city business licenses. All of those types of things happen with the City Council. Those are the roles, some of the roles of City Council.
I know you're a small business fanatic and
Yes.
very, very friendly towards that.
Yes.
For all those who own a small business or thinking about starting a small business, what type of advice would you have for them? And then also,
Well, I actually have a platform for them.
Yeah, and then let us know.
So let me just say this. I don't just talk about it. I am about it. And so when I say that I'm pro business friendly, that's real. I'm not going to sit there and say I'm pro. I'm going to put this as I'm throwing a little shade right now. Just catch it real quick. Just catch it real quick. So what I am going to say is I'm not going to tell you I'm pro business friendly. Then when the liquor license is supposed to go, when we're looking to from $75,000 to $5,000, I'm going to vote against it. Oh yeah, that really happened. Ward 2. Your current city councilwoman really did that. So I'm not going to just say it and not be about it. And I think that people can appreciate that. So I am pro-business friendly. What I am wanting to put on the table for my current business owners, when you come to renew your city business license, if you're doing business with the city of Las Vegas, I want you to be able to get a discount off of your renewal, because I know how hard it's been. We're still not out of the clear with our small businesses. And so I want to recognize you and say, hey, we appreciate you having a small business. Here's a little help. Here's a little assistance. And then for those that have been bold enough to step out and open up their new businesses, because I love a startup business. I think, hey, I've done more than one of those. So I understand what that process looks and how hard it is to really step out of the shell. Well, you've probably been working for somebody, and now you're stepping on your own to do your own thing. And so for those small businesses that are startups and new businesses, we want to give you a 90-day waiver. All I'm saying is give them 90 days, and then on the 91st day, they're going to pay their business fees. But what I've also been hearing out there as I've been on the campaign trails, there's just too many dang fees. I mean, people come, they says, Erika, there's what can you do? There's like a lot of fees. So what I would really like to do, speak to those individuals that once I get in, I want to look at what fees there are and see if there's a way really for us to streamline those and not have so many fees. Because people say, man, there's way too many fees. Like, I know Las Vegas likes to make money, but let's do it in a way that's not, I don't mind they're making money, but I want to make sure that we're doing a way that we're a business-friendly city. Then when you think about Las Vegas, you say, well, they are so business-friendly. Maybe I should put a business there. So that it really incentivizes and really attracts more businesses. But if we have a ton of fees and people can't even get the business off the ground because they're so inundated with fees, what are we really doing? Are we really business-friendly? Because I would say the answer is no.
As somebody who's started, I think 4 businesses now in Las Vegas, the first time you go and make that leap of faith and become a startup founder, it can be very intimidating.
Yes.
There's 4 or 5 different offices that you have to register for. Some of these have to have special applications. When I opened up the antique store, I didn't find out until after 2 months that I had to get an FBI background check, and no one even said that. And then that FBI background check's, I think, like $700, and then you still have to pay regular fees. And so it becomes thousands of dollars, and then you still have to pay your first month's rent and last month's rent. And so by the end of the startup, it could be up to like $10,000
you're like
in fees.
and then you're like tapped out. And you haven't made a dime yet. And so those are the things. And it sounds like there needs to be something put in place where we kind of have a checklist. We kind of say, okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and kind of help new businesses especially get established and get their feet wet and get started without all of these numerous fees that just really don't help them. It really hurts them.
And as we think about and conceptualize Summerlin 2.0, are there any types of specific businesses that you would like attracted down into Summerlin? As we've talked, we know brick and mortars are kind of on their way out. This digital economy, creator economy is beginning to explode. There's crypto, there's tech. There's all these weird.
To have all that tech.
There's all these like small industries that are begun setting up shop around Vegas that are going to probably bloom over the next 4 or 5 years. But what are some of the small businesses or sectors that you'd like to see come down to Summerlin? I would like
technology. I know North Las Vegas is looking at that, but you know, my baby's Summerlin, so I would like to see us attract some of those type of industries as well. Any type of like hospital, any new hospitals, children's hospitals, any of those things would be great as well. Just anything that really gets everything booming and just makes sense. I mean, we have a ton of restaurants. Of course, you know, I always everyone likes to eat, right? So I will always say more restaurants because I like to eat. Maybe some more seafood.
If we want to bring some of the entertainment from the strip up to Summerlin.
Oh, I would just be all for it. I mean, I think that as locals, and especially as people that live in Summerlin, a lot of people may not know this, but Summerlin people do not like to leave Summerlin. So I think for us, the more things we can have where we don't have to trek down to the strip. Let's let the tourists have most of that, even though sometimes I like to go down there and act like I'm a tourist, but I don't do that very often. But the more that we have that we can not have to trek down there and things that we can enjoy, I think entertainment is key. Having maybe some shows, I'm here all for it.
Let's set up shop out there.
Yes.
Tech is obviously, that's my focus, right? I moved completely into crypto. You've been to a few meetups now about that. What is something that interests you about blockchain in Las Vegas? And then we could talk about moving it to Summerlin. But what are some of the things that have caught your eye?
Because we're Las Vegas. Certainly we're the entertainment capital of the world. We're really the sports capital of the world now. Like, that's really happening. We're the marriage capital of the world. Look, so why not say, we just have it going on in Las Vegas. So why not say that we are not the NFT or the cryptocurrency, state of the world, the capital. So I think that's something that we should be looking at. You and I talked before, and we looked at the city of Miami, what that mayor is doing, that Mayor Suarez. So certainly, we're Las Vegas. Come on now.
It's a lot of parallels.
A lot of parallels. And I'm not trying to brag, but my city's better than yours. I'm just saying.
Facts.
So those are just facts, okay? So when you look at a city that everyone wants to come to from around the world, don't you think it makes sense? It makes sense for us to be catering to those industries and really making it happen and using it to really bring more income to the city, which it can do. Look, I'm looking for a Las Vegas coin. Don't play with me.
Let's go. Erika's
I'm looking
ready.
for us to have our own coin. So,
and this is what most people in crypto and just the tech space in general look for. It's not politicians who have to know every single intricacy of the technology. It's politicians who are open to helping protect and work with them and get the guide as well. That's Mayor Suarez. He literally just said, I'm interested in blockchain. And then They all came and swarmed down there.
Because I don't know all, I'll say it right here. I don't know all the ins and outs. I know we've had multiple conversations. Yes, I have been in some meetups, and I'm definitely trying to educate myself more. Mm-hmm. But I would have to bring someone like you or Rob or any of these people that have the knowledge to say, okay, come and talk to me. How do we pull this off? How do we make this happen? How is this tangible? And so I think that those are the things that I look at. But yes, I mean, Las Vegas definitely needs to be going in that direction. I'm going to say this. If you hear a candidate or a politician that's already in office and they're not talking the way I'm talking and talking about things that are real and tangible and futuristic and really can take our city to a whole nother level, because next time it's going to be Las Vegas 2.0. Don't play with me. So just know that that's probably not the candidate that you need to be putting in office. You need to see what they're talking about. And if they're talking about just staying old school and not, you know, moving forward and not moving your city, the city forward or the state forward, you may want to vote against those particular candidates or public officials. That's real.
You can be progressive without being hyper partisan. Be moderate with that. And I think a lot of people have lost that. I know. I think a lot of people have just lost focus. They think when you're progressive, you tend to be like a super far leftist, and that's not the case. There's progressives on both sides. Progressivism was started in the middle.
Absolutely. And I think that you have to really start holding these people in office. There has to be some accountability. I think we've lost that. And like I was saying before, with the local city races, people overlook them. I was out at Desert Breeze on Saturday. I went to vote, and I was talking to a lady about, you know, who I am. She went in to vote. Do you know she like stopped? She didn't even go down the ballot. So look, let me say this to everybody that's listening. If you're voting, make sure you go down the ballot. There's no excuses not to know something. There's too many voter guides. I'm going to give a shout out to a couple of different guys right now. Red Rock Democrat Club has a great voting guide. That if you live in Summerlin or the West Side, West Valley, you probably have received it in your mailbox. If you're a Democrat, you have received that. Also, there is Clark County Town Hall voting guide. So there's no excuse to go into the voting booth and not know nothing. And they allow you to take all your stuff with you. So you don't have to be like committed to memory. Let me get my book out. Here we go. So those are things I'm saying to people. Don't just stop at the top races. Please come and support us down ballot because we need your help. Every vote counts, especially in the primary.
Randall was saying on one of the last episodes that with the local races, it tends to come down to, I think it's generally about 10% of the voters in an area are the people that vote. And so you're saying maybe 5% of that area's demographic is going to sway the election to one representative or another. It's crazy that how overlooked local elections are.
Yeah, well, the numbers, we know that typically in a primary election, midterms especially, you don't get a large voter turnout. So what happens is you could literally win on very little numbers. And the different thing now is that the city council race used to be in the odd years by itself, but the voter turnout was just like atrocious. It was really bad.
So they have to group it together.
So what happened is the Nevada legislature moved it over to the even years. So that's how some of these, when you see the mayor, people thought the mayor race was supposed to be, it would have been like last year. Her term got extended to 2024. And so now we have to wait till 2024 for the mayor, but that was to kind of get everything on an even year. So we had to kind of give a little bit on that. But I'm expecting, I mean, we have to see, but I don't expect for the turnout to be super large because it is a primary election and usually the numbers are not big.
And the primaries just opened up yesterday, 2 days ago at the time of this recording.
Well, early voting started Saturday, May 28th, and it goes to June 10th. So people would have received their sample ballots probably a couple weeks ago or so. So they're able to go. You'll see the Republican ballot in there, Democratic ballot, and a nonpartisan ballot. And it'll be specific to where you live. So you'll look at it, and that'll be the slate of people that you can vote for. And so in primary day is actually June 14th. And so, yeah, we're really in the thick of it right now. It's on and popping right now. It really, really is. And so definitely, and we have mail ballots that have hit your mailboxes that I think they started receiving those last week. I know mine was in my, even though I went to vote in person, mine was in my mailbox.
And since we unfortunately have closed primaries in Nevada, which is a completely different conversation, it's kind of annoying and frustrating of that situation. The people here, they have to be registered as a Democrat to vote for you, but they can change their political party at the ballot. So let me talk about how that works. So yes, if they want to say, hey, we really believe in Dr. Erika Smith, I'm on the ballot as Erika Smith. Doc Smith is how I am on the ballot. They can
For me, because I am in what is a nonpartisan race, I am on every ballot. So get excited, everybody.
That's a benefit. Yeah,
get
huge.
excited, everybody.
That's just for city officials?
So if they live in Las Vegas City Council Ward 2, if they live within the city limits, because there's some parts of Summerlin that are not considered the city, they're considered unincorporated Clark County. So I tell people the best way to make sure that you live in the city, well, first you can look at your sample ballot. And what you'll see is where it says nonpartisan races, and it will say Las Vegas City Councilman Ward 2. Then that means you can vote for me. That means I'm on your back. And if you live within City Council Ward 2, I am on everyone's ballot. If you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, or if you are nonpartisan, I show up on every ballot. So for me, you would not have to move your party affiliation to be able to vote for me. You just have to live in Ward 2. And a lot of times, if you're not sure and maybe you don't have a sample ballot or whatever, you can go to the City of Las Vegas website as well. And there is a tool called Find Your Ward. If you go to the search bar, I think it's at the top right, and you can just hit on there. It'll take you to a whole bunch of options, and it's called Find Your Ward. So you can literally type in your address, and it will tell you where you live. If you're within the city, it tells you which ward. If you're not, it'll tell you, oh, you're in unincorporated Clark County. So those are some tools that I think are helpful, because I know a lot of people don't go to the city website. I spend a lot of time there because when you're running for a seat, I want to be as knowledgeable as possible what we already have going on. We have some really great things at the city that I would definitely encourage people to come to the website, take a look at all the programs we have in education. I think that you would just be like, wow, I didn't know all this was going on.
Yeah, it's
and when
tucked away.
when you're looking into it and have to look, you're like, wow, we're really doing more, but no one really talks about the things. And I think that's what I would like to do as city council, is really bring attention to the programs that we offer to the community, because I think it's super important for people to have that knowledge. Like, look what the city is already doing. But can we do some things better? Absolutely.
Of course. We're going to 2.0 and 3.0.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what we have to do. So we have to look at the things. But I think a lot of people don't see the things that are already being done. And I think that's because we haven't done a good job at advertising, education. Education is on your platform. And last time we spoke, it was, I think, number 1 or number 2 in terms of priority on your last one. Education is always going to be a priority for me. I'm highly educated. So for me, it just makes sense that I'm going to pay attention to education.
So how do we improve that?
Oh my gosh. So people ask me about Clark County. People ask me about Clark County School District, and I just tell myself we don't directly have any authority over Clark County School District, because I know it's on a lot of people's minds right now, the violence. It's been a lot going on that I know personally disturbed about. When I see it, I don't like it. And, I was on another podcast probably before, I think I had just filed, so it's back in March. And I said and this was with 100 Black men, and I said to them, I said, it doesn't matter that we're not have any authority, but I think because we are the city of Las Vegas, it doesn't matter.
You have influence.
I think we have to have some influence, because what's happening is not okay. Our teachers need to be safe. Our children need to learn. They don't need to be worrying about all of the other outside factors. And when I know I was in school, we didn't have all those outside factors. We just came to school to learn, and that's what we did. And I want to make sure that we're doing that, because right now we're like 48th or 49th in the country. It's just, it's an embarrassment.
It's been that way my entire life since I lived here.
Yeah, see that, and that's not okay. So there's something that's not happening somewhere, and we have to really find that disconnect. And it doesn't matter. We have to, as a city, we have to say all hands on deck. And I promised the community, I said, look, it's going to be all hands on deck. It takes a village. It does really take a village to raise a child. So that means the city, the county, the state, everybody's got to say, you know what? It may not be in my defined job, but because it's happening in my city, because it makes us all look bad. People want to bring their children here to learn. not have to worry about all this violence and all this other nonsense going on. They want they send their child there to learn. And that's what we have to like literally get back to the basics. And so I think that it is, like I said, it's all hands on deck. I have committed myself to say, hey, I'm your city councilwoman. I know this is not, but look, this is what I think we should be doing. The city, at least this city councilwoman right here, is committed to excellence and committed to making sure that our children have a good, safe learning environment and that they're really learning. The fact that you hear about children not being able to read, what planet are we on?
Yeah, there's always been some outside factors, and I think as the rate of technology increases, there's more pressures on students to perform. When I was in school, that's when texting was just becoming popularized. Social media just made it to the mobile wave, but now you see, and even when you watch like these teen shows that are on Netflix, and they talk about like teenage suicide and social pressures and all this, we just have to understand how to prevent that from affecting the students' participation in education.
Yeah, and we know that mental health is big too. And so I know, but we have a lack of mental health providers. Let's be honest, that we have not concentrated our focus in that area. But we should definitely be drilling down, be focused in that area. You know, what happened in 2020, those students were home. It affected their mental health.
Yeah.
And so we just have to keep it real. We have to have some real honest conversation. And we have to say, this is what we need. How do we train? How do we get more mental health providers in the state of Nevada? How do we get them here? Do we need to have a school that now trains up some people? What is it that we need to do to have the right capacity, to have the number of individuals that we can have dedicated to mental health in our schools so that our children are not feel like they need to commit suicide? There's just so many things that we have to have real honest conversations about, and we have to stop politicking.
Yeah, make it.
Because the problem is people want to politic. Oh, I can't talk about that because I'm up for re-election. Forget your re-election. Let's get to getting. Let's get to really helping the community what we said we were going to do. No one cares about your politics when their child just hung themselves or shot themselves. No, your politics are out the door. So I think that people are too concerned with the politics. Oh, what is it going to look like to my constituents? It's going to look like you were out here doing the right thing. That's what it's going to look like.
The world's become hyper politicized, and not even from just like a local, state, or federal politics level, but even the politics that play inside of schools or inside of the corporations.
Yes.
Those have a lagging effect on the efficiency of the workplace that they're in. It's very, very unfortunate, but
it is. Everything can't be about politics. It has to be about caring about people. You know, people hear me when they've heard me speak, they talk about, and I'm talking about putting respect and compassion and integrity and honesty and accountability and transparency back into the seat. Because we know that is, look.
We want transparency. Bring it back, Erika. Bring it back.
We got to bring it back. And so the thing is that right now, Ward 2 doesn't have that type of person in that seat. And so I think they're hungry for a change champion like myself. They're hungry for someone that's saying, that's real out here. They're like, okay, she's real. When we hear like, well, we can tell she really cares about people, which I do. I care what happens to people on a daily basis. You know, so it's just like, okay, do I understand when people have a hard time? Oh, yes, I sure do. Trust me, I've been there, done that. So I just know that they can say, okay, well, at least I see Councilwoman is real. She's out here making real changes, having real outcomes. In my first 100 days, I want to have a town hall right there in Summerlin, because I think it's important for you not just to be talking all the time, but it's time for me as a city councilwoman to listen. Listening skills are key, because you got to hear what people are saying. What do they really want?
Yeah, they actually say that leaders are great listeners.
Yes, you have to be a great listener. So I know for me, that is something that's really important, that take place, that I be seen, that I be super visible. Because right now, the person they have now, they don't see you. They're like, okay, we never see her. I'm like, yeah, see, that's not going to be me. You're going to be like, okay, city councilwoman, we've seen you enough. You've had, so I want them to say, okay, definitely we see her. She listens to us. She's really trying to make a change for us. She's making sure that our city is the best city that, because that's what the stuff that's been going on has been highly embarrassing. Old women fighting. I mean, I could have probably used a better word. Maybe they're just
we're being
seasoned.
transparent. We're being transparent.
Maybe they're just seasoned. That's a nice way to put it. But hell, I'm gonna just say it. They old.
Let's be honest. Most people in America, we're just asking for younger politicians, not because we're being ageist, but because that disconnect between the generations is making it tough for everyone who lives in America or the respective city to really reason with having or being acceptive of their politicians, because it's just like there's too big of a generational gap there. They're not understanding what the younger generations want or looking for, or seeing like the rate of where technology and society is going.
Exactly. But so like I was saying, when old women are fighting, and these are the people that were put in office to do the business of the city, but they're finding more time to what I call teenage girl antics and fighting, pulling hair, breaking fingers, when all that stuff, that's distracting. Now we can't do the business of the city because now we're inundated in HR investigations, and now these ladies can't get along. So it's just enough of that, enough of the nonsense. People are saying enough. And I mean, I am the youngest person in my race. I'm 45. I know I probably look 35, and that's
25,
okay.
Girl.
Oh, okay. Now, see, wait a minute now. Hey. hey. Y'all know I have a birthday next week, so I'll be 25 again.
Oh, right.
But I mean, I'm the youngest person in my race, and I'm proud about it because, look, I think I'm old enough, but then I'm also young enough to say, okay, she's been around the block. She's had some experiences, but she's not too old where she's not open to different ideas and things like that, and she'll be able to grow with the seat. And so I think that is attractive to a lot of people that will look to say, wait a minute, we know she's 45. They did a Shay, I can't think of his last name. I think his name is Shay Johnson. He wrote about, he covers all of the city council races. And so, of course, he had asked my age. And so I was proud to say, look, I'm 45 because I know I'm the youngest in the race. So I bring a lot of different facets of uniqueness to the race that I think people can believe in. I think people can say, woo, oh, that's a breath of fresh air. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. And we have a sister. Woo. So they already know that it's the right way to go. And they know that, Black women, we're known for taking care of business. And that's exactly what I plan to do. And I think that the city should get excited. Las Vegas City Ward 2, you should definitely get excited. You should be hitting up those voting centers right now saying, yes, we're here to vote for that Dr. Erika Smith. So that's what I want to see. So on June 14th, we can all celebrate and have a victory together. What a lot of people don't know about the nonpartisan races is that we can win in the primary with the 50% plus one. We can win it straight out. And what does that mean for Las Vegas and Ward 2? That means that myself, Dr. Erika Smith, gets to represent you. I get to start working for you on July 20th. Y'all want to see Victoria Seaman packing? Because everyone says they hate her. They says they're ready for her to be out of the seat. They're just tired of the nonsense that's been going on in the city council. They don't want to be embarrassed anymore about who represents them, because we know that representation matters. Truly it does. Then you need to make sure that you're getting down during this early voting. Right now it's happening through June 10th. Or if you want to wait till primary day is June 14th, and get down there and press that button for me.
Ooh, that's what we're going to do. Erika, I loved everything that you said this entire conversation. I can tell over the last 2 years, you've grown a lot in terms of your messaging, your thought process, and how you want to apply that to the city. So I'm very excited. I wish I lived in Summerlin so that I
wish you lived there too. I mean, we're going to have to get you to move, but I want people to make sure they go to VoteDrSmithLV.com. If you want to donate to the campaign, I'm gonna tell y'all something. It's rough in these primaries, especially. Well, no, I'm serious especially because when you're not incumbent, you don't have coffers full of money to get your messaging out, and that's really important for people to see who you are, to get your messaging out. So if you feel like, hey, I really like what she was saying, they don't have to live in Ward 2. They don't even have to live in Las Vegas. But what they can do is they can go to the upper right corner and hit donate and say, I believe in this candidate. Let me help her get over that hump. Let me help her just get through this, because I want to make sure that she gets through this primary and even wins with that 50% plus one. Because if we don't get the 50% plus one, then it's the top two that go into the general race.
Should be interesting to follow along. But yeah, again, thank you for always coming on, being a perfect podcast guest, as we say, and then maybe be the perfect candidate for Ward 2 that we've all want.
Yes.
Loved everything that you're saying. And yeah, thank you for sharing your time with us. And thank you guys for listening and watching. Make sure you go out, vote, donate to Dr. Erika Smith, show her some love, give her follows and everything of that nature. And we'll see you guys next time.